Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Big Freaking Friday Show. It takes place on a big freaking Friday, like today, the end of the work week. The week is over. Busy week in college football. We're going to break it all down. We're going to talk presidential committees, 16-team playoffs, Bill Belichick's girlfriend being banned or not banned. Is Pablo Torre accurate, inaccurate? We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it all. So joining me tonight are my co-hosts. First up, the Wild Ute. How are you doing, Ute?
Hey, happy Friday. Happy Friday to our community. It's a beautiful day. Can't wait to get into this.
Absolutely. I got a question for you, Ute.
Sure.
Yeah, 2 Utes.
What is a ute?
There you go.
Moan. Moan. Get rid of that sounder now.
That sounder will stay. The other co-host tonight is our friend from West Virginia, by way of the Bay Area, Daniel Gygax, the host and founder of Just the Facts with Dan Gygax, the great short series on here. He also is, he did that great video with Wild Ute, the best Big 12 stadium experiences, Big 12 stadiums, etc. So what do you have to say for yourself, Daniel?
That thing got 11,500 views. And I'm really shocked that many people want to see this face.
And a lot of people left angry comments. So
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Plenty of those. We got our first super chat of the evening. Let's throw it up here. Ricky Tungate, Mr. Hoosier, says the Big Ten is sticking together. Absolutely. Big Ten will be sticking together forever. We're just going to be living, Ricky.
You just got to keep living, man. LIVIN.
No reason.
Thank you for the super chat, Mr. Hoosier. Good luck to the Hoosiers this year. Let's make sure that it's not a one-off season. Let's show everybody that the Hoosiers are indeed back. All right, where do you guys want to start with tonight? Do you want to start with the presidential committee, the 16-team playoff, the Bill Belichick's 24-year-old hot girlfriend getting banned from the facilities?
Maybe banned.
Maybe banned. Not banned from my
Maybe
facilities. Jordan, if you're listening, not banned here. And you can help me with the Moen brand.
So we had the first report this morning. That was on Pat McAfee's show, saying Jordan was banned from all the all the football facilities there at Chapel Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina Athletics put a statement out, probably maybe an hour and a half after that. It made it sound like that she wasn't banned, but they didn't like her hanging around the facility. So I don't know. It sounds like that they've said we don't want her around, but to further the Belichick brand, she has to be around.
This is a bizarre situation, guys. Have you guys ever heard of anything like this before in college football? In college sports? A great legend in NFL football comes to the college level, meets a 22-year-old. Now she's 24, and she basically is running the program, running the show, running Belichick, has control of really what's going on in the field, the locker room, seemingly. Like this is like, it doesn't even make any sense. Like, you kind of have to question still Belichick's mental state, given like all the power that he's given up, his autonomy and stuff, because of this Jordan Hudson girl and stuff stepping in. It's really an amazing thing to see. As far as was she banned by UNC, I think it's a certain yes. It was a yes that turned into a no once it came out publicly.
Now, can we say that Belichick's kitty whipped? I mean, he's seriously kitty whipped.
Yeah.
Either that or there's something wrong upstairs.
I'm telling you guys how do you need to manage a brand of the greatest NFL coach in history? a one-eyed monkey with severe gonorrhea could manage Bill Belichick's brand. He's the greatest coach in NFL history. How much brand management do you need? Unbelievable.
I mean, he could go out there and do like Hall of Fame meet and greets and stuff like that, and not have to deal with anything with UNC. And he'll end up those things pay fairly well if you're a big name. So why is he dealing with all this headache at UNC?
Hey, it must be good. She must be serving up good stuff. What can I say? We got another super chat in here from awesome, epic, cool, strong Nathan Man. Okay.
That is my best friend's son from back in West Virginia. He just finished Army basic training and military police school, and he is now back in West Virginia. I don't know whenever he starts his full-time National Guard stint yet, but it's sometime towards the end of the month.
All right. Well, thank you for the super chat. I got a little something here for you. Awesome, epic, cool, strong Nathan Man.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
Thank you again for the super chat, and congratulations on graduating your basic training. Let's say hello to some people. I really, is there anything more that we can really say about Bill Belichick and the Jordan Hudson?
Not without
it's
getting
straight up
banned.
weird stuff, guys.
Yeah. Not without being demonetized. Yeah.
Let's say hello to some people. Caleb Ramirez is here. He says hi. Good to see you, Caleb. Bob Swanger is here. He says good evening, CFM. Good to see you, Bob. Sergeant Pickle says happy Friday, y'all. TF Williams says, hey, y'all, go Noles. John Graysmith says he is ready. That's the way we like it. Jan Hulk, excuse me, all the way from Slovenia, says, hey, y'all. Good to see you, young.
Hey.
Mr. Monkey says, yo.
Yo.
David Floyd says, wreck 'em. Conundrum says, you leave Jordan Hudson alone. You misspelled that name. It's Jordan Hudson. John Boxleitner says, hokey high. I don't have a Almost Heaven Virginia Tech song. Sorry.
No.
Outlaw Sky says, go Bucks. Go Bucks. Jackson Johnson, our moderator's here. He says, roll tide. Good to see you, Jackson. Belichick licks the frosting first on his cupcake.
What?
That's just wrong. Bill Belichick likes The Godfather Part 3. Nobody likes The Godfather Part 3. It's terrible. It's awful. I tell all my nieces and nephews there were only 2 Godfathers, because that's the way it should have been. Jordan filed an age discrimination lawsuit against UNC and they caved. Yes, because there's no 24-year-olds on campus at UNC.
No, not at all.
Sergeant Pickle says it's better than a soap opera. Let's see here. Just trying to make sure we say hello to everybody. MBM says senility. Has-been says, this just in as an example to college sports. Cody Campbell says he will share his entire proceeds from the sale of his company with the rest of the energy industry just to keep things fair.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Sure.
that'll happen. Missouri also still sucks, Mr. Monkey says. I feel the same way.
Hey guys, I've got to show you something. Sorry to jump in, Moan. This has been on the mind for a long time. Super random, guy. So we're talking about Jordan Hudson, and like she reminded me of a character that I'd seen in the distant past when I was like a kid in a show, and I found it. It's come to me, and she looks just like Ursula, pretty Ursula from The Little Mermaid. Check that out. Look, I'm serious. Like, Ursula became pretty at one moment of The Little Mermaid, the cartoon show back like in the late 80s. And look at that resemblance. Jordan Hudson is Ursula.
I don't know, but she got them popping on the red carpet there.
Not wearing the hoodie.
Yeah, I can't blame Bill Belichick. Has been said Jordan Hudson is a milker. She is a milker.
Mm-hmm.
D5 Terps is here. He says, "Go Terps."
Go Terps.
Les Austin Jr. is here. He says, "What up, dough fellas?" And I'm not going to say that other word.
Go
You
blue.
don't have to.
Go blue.
I will not say it.
According
D5
to
Terp says he likes hookers. So I appreciate the honesty.
according to Message Toward Genius, you're mean to Michigan fans.
I know.
Yeah,
I
Mo.
know. Message board geniuses, whatever.
Yeah, I know.
You guys see Belichick going back to the NFL? I don't see him going
way.
back. Now this is
He's-
it. This is the last stop on the
He's
Belichick
what,
train.
73?
73. Yeah.
73. There's very, very few NFL teams that will bring him in because at most he would be there maybe 2 years, if that. And they want something at least decent termed.
Troll grinding cheek clapper, the best username on YouTube. It's the men, the myth, the guys who, as long as they never permanently add a UCLA fan to the cast, will be legends of college football
There we
mafia.
go.
That's a trick question. There are no UCLA fans.
Yeah, that's so true.
Have you seen the stadium?
I've played. Yeah, we played UCLA plenty. It's truth right there. You speak truth.
Good seats still available in Pasadena.
Yep.
Always.
RT says, "Howdy, y'all."
Hey,
Yeah,
hey.
last time Pasadena was sold out, Ohio State had to play there.
Oh, yeah.
John Boxleitner says, "A 70-something dating a 20-something will never not be the object of ridicule."
It's
If I had the money, though,
Who was the actress that married like that oil billionaire? I'm trying to remember her name. Blonde
thinking of
lady.
Anna Nicole Smith,
Yeah,
and
Anna Nicole Smith.
J.
yeah,
Paul
he-
Getty.
Yeah, he was like 85 and she was like 28 or something like that.
Moan. Like, what kind of conversations does Belichick and Hudson have together?
I don't think there's a lot of conversating going on. But listen, man,
You're gonna talk.
you got the money. You might as well. You can't take it with you. You might as well spend it on the finer things in life. Let's put it that way. Belichick is greasing the skids for his son to take over at UNC. Yeah, that's absolutely. I think he's only coaching there 2 years, and then Steve gets the job. Although I don't know, could be a settlement issue. Half of it might go to Steve, half of it might go to Jordan.
Stop it, Moan. Jordan.
MBM says 50 years since Bill Belichick had carnal knowledge of a 20-year-old.
Gee, my. I still want to know about the conversations. I mean, that's got to be some really awkward conversation right there over dinner.
Yeah, there's no conversating, trust me. Amazing Blue has something to say, but I will not say it. You go ahead and say it, you.
Moan, hail to the victors. Hail to the victors. Amazing Blue, go Big Blue.
Let's see here. We'll do
Let 'em
this
cook.
one.
Let him cook.
It's lots of money, so give us some of that money. Yeah, give us internet money.
Moan.
Let me see.
The Canadians from South Park.
Yes, he wanted internet money, buddy. Give us internet money. Internet has lots of money. Here we go.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Thank you for the super chat, Amazing Blue, but I will not say those words.
Hail to the victors.
and I will not eat green eggs and ham. I have a 20% rule. Age gap should never exceed it.
That makes sense.
Well, if I had Bill Belichick's money, I would ignore your rule too. The Rose Bowl is USC's second home stadium. Been there 34 times and won 25 of those times. Last 3 I went to were all USC versus Penn State. That's a great segue. You're going to be filming a video coming up with Big Ten Ted, aren't you, Wild U?
I am. So, Mr. Gygax, get this. So, we did the Big 12 stadium video. It's time for the Big 10 stadium video here.
Good.
So, ranked, use the same mechanics. We ranked all the stadiums 1 through 18 in the Big 10. And this one's going to be a little bit divisive, guys. Like it's just based on the data. I didn't fudge any of the numbers or anything. It's just what the data says. But Big Ten Ted has not seen the list. I'm not going to show it to him till the video, but I have a feeling he's not going to agree with everything, all the stadium rankings that you're about to see. So we're going to record that on Monday. So hopefully this next week we'll release that. Big Ten stadium rankings.
Absolutely. That should be fun. Just as long as the horseshoe is number 1. No worries. You did
Go blue.
If I send 100, you do it. Trust me, it's coming. When you send me that internet money, I will say it. Need that internet money, buddy. When she turns 25, will Bill replace her with a new one under 25 like Leonardo DiCaprio does? Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio is notorious for that. So
Is he really?
as much shit as we're giving Bill Belichick, I think Leonardo DiCaprio is like in his 50s, and he's doing it too. So, but just because Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't look like a melted candle, everybody lets it pass.
What? Stop it, Moan. A melted candle?
That's what Bill Belichick looks like.
How did you even get that in your mind? A melted candle?
50.
Bill Belichick looks like a melted candle. He does.
What?
The more money you have, the more age gap you can purchase. This is absolutely true.
Mr. Monkey he's normally nails, and he's nails with this one, 100%.
And then MBM says it's gap insurance.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna stop talking about
More Jordan.
Let's talk about it. It came out this week. President Trump is forming a presidential committee to discover the ways to fix college athletics, chaired by multimillionaire former coach Nick Saban and a Texas Tech former football player, current billionaire, oil magnate, Cody Campbell. We don't know any other names on the list, but those are the 2 names we do know. Let's start from Nick Saban's perspective. Nick Saban wants it to be NFL light. He wants the top 40 markets or the top 40 schools to be separated from everybody else. So, oh shit. I think we would actually send it. Hail to the victors. Go blue. I got to play his sound effect too.
That's all right, man. Guess what? I was a little bit wasted my own self. You know? Okay?
Man, you 2 are regular old 3 Musketeers.
Yeah, we are. Touche.
Thank you.
Moan, you gotta say it slow. Say it slow. He dropped $100 super chat to get you to
Hail
say this.
to the victors. Go blue.
Hail to the victors. Go blue.
That's at the 2010 mark. We gotta mark that now.
I need another
Moan's had enough. Thank you, Amazing Blue. Thank you for the laughs. Thank you for the super chat. Moan. Hey, you played well, Moan.
Yeah, we can play a little push.
Push it to the limit.
Push it to the limit, Amazing Blue, with the $100 super chat, tying the most we've ever received for a super chat here on the College Football Mafia Network. Thank you, Amazing Blue. Hail to the victors. Go Blue. There, I've said it. I've said it multiple times now. We don't ever need to say that again. Not on this channel, unless it's you or Daniel Gygax or somebody not named Moen.
So Amazing Blue, I recommend you check out the Big Ten Stadium video. It's coming out this week. I think you'll be very pleased.
Yeah, we've got to give him a little. Yeah, I'm gonna chug some milk on this bad boy.
What is this, Mona?
That's somebody enjoying milk. That's the way you enjoy your milk here in the Midwest.
Is that Jordan right there?
Amazing Blue will tell you that's how we handle our milk around here, man. We just drink it straight from the jug. We chug a jug. Yeah, I don't have any Wolverine stuff on here, so sorry. You'll get that, and maybe let's have a shot. Why not?
Let's do it. Cheers. Cheers. Happy Friday. Hail to the victors. What's the Hail to the victors? What's the song? Is there a song that goes with that?
That's their fight song. It's Hail to the victors, and I can't remember the rest of it off the top of my head.
Hail to the victors, yes sir. Hail to the conquering heroes. Hail, hail to Michigan. Something, something, something.
Boom.
There you go. That's what $100 will get you here on the College Football Mafia channel. You send me that internet money, you bring me my money.
Tell them to bring me my money.
And that's what it'll get you. Thank you, Amazing Blue. You are forever gilded here on the College Football Mafia. Now, let's talk about Nick Saban. Let's talk about Nick Saban's plan. Nick Saban wants to do NFL Light, top 40 schools. Everybody else gets left behind. Thoughts on that?
You almost have it with, you got 34 in the SEC and Big Ten. If the Big Ten adds who we think they're going to add, that puts them up to 20. The SEC, if they add who we think they're going to add, that puts them up to 20. There's your 40. I think that's going to take up most of the space right there. But even then, is the SEC and Big Ten going to do their own championship? Are they going to do their own playing games? I mean, there's so many other things that need to happen for that to be reality.
I think it's a beautiful concept. Actually brought this up before on the College Football Mafia channel. This is the anti-milkers concept. So you milkers out there in the Big Ten land and the SEC, you about to get kicked out under Nick Saban's idea here, because we're adding the biggest brands. We're adding a real thing together with the superpowers, baby, not just the Big Ten. So you milk suckers, you ain't going to be in it. Nope, no sucking the milk. No saying, hey, we invest a ton in sports and we lose all the time. Guess what? You don't have to invest a lot of money in sports to lose. You can invest $0 and lose. A loss is cheap, guys. A loss is super cheap. So the milkers are going to get kicked out like it should be if we're going to go to an elite NFL light style format, guys. It's not going to be, you're not going to bring all the Big Ten teams in. Ain't going to happen. They don't qualify. They don't have the merit of a 40-team Super League. So I love the idea. Let's do it.
Are you going to buy out Northwestern? Are you going to buy out Purdue?
Why would you buy
out? You will have to buy them out of the Big Ten contract. They are members of the Big Ten. You now have to pay for them to go somewhere. The Big East did that whenever they kicked Temple out. And that was 25 plus years ago, about 25 years ago. They had to pay for them to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not talking where Temple was football only in the Big East. We are talking, Purdue has been there since day one. Northwestern has been there since day one. You're going to have to buy these people out of the conference.
You're not going to kick
how much will
no buyout here?
There's
simply an invitation to go somewhere else to play football.
The legal entity of the Southeastern Conference and Big Ten exist. You have to come up with a way to make them whole just due to the fact that if that conference falls apart, let's say that there's enough money to get Alabama to join this whatever league, or there's enough money to get Michigan to go. Where are they going to put their basketball? Where are they going to put their hockey? Where are they going to put their track and field? We're looking at football only fixes. That's not going to fix everything. Purdue's had a pretty good run in basketball. Mm-hmm. They make money for the Big Ten in basketball. I don't see a way that they're going to kick schools out of the Southeastern Conference or Big Ten.
Let's reframe this, okay? There is no kicking out. Big Ten exists. The SEC exists with all of its pageantry, prestige, and sometimes snootiness, a lot of snootiness. Everything about Big Ten is going to exist. But just your top brands, your Michigans, your Ohio State, your Penn State, your USCs, your top guys are going to have an invitation to play football in another premier conference. That's what that basically would be doing. It wouldn't be forming its own conference. Everything would exist inside the Big Ten still. You would just play football somewhere else. And that's Saban's idea too.
So you said invitation. Is it voluntary?
Yes, of course. And you can say no, Moan.
Okay. Okay, so here's my point of view. Why did the Big Ten and the SEC even need to do that? We can go just take the most valuable parts that are there in the ACC. We know they want out. We know UNC wants out. We know Miami wants out. We know Florida State wants out. We know Clemson wants out. We know Duke wants out. We know Virginia wants out. What's stopping us from going and just taking those things and saying, hasta la vista, it's now the Big Ten versus SEC. We now have our own playoff at the end of the year where it's Big Ten versus SEC. And the Big 12, the remnants of the ACC, the G7 or G8 or G9 or however many Gs we end up with, and Notre Dame can go ahead and play their own playoff. And we could just do it that way. What's stopping that? What's preventing that?
That's what would happen.
The problem with your concept is that your current league isn't super enough. It's not super enough. You don't have all elite teams in it. You've got plenty of milkers. You got to kick the milkers out to make it super if you want to do that.
Listen, you can have a conference full of elite teams. Some of them are going to be losers, Some of them are going to be losers.
But not perennial. We're talking about losers all the time, Moan. Like, come on. It's pretty cheap to take an L. You don't have to form, you don't have to do anything to take an L. Just
there are teams that are not losers all the time because they have down seasons. Listen, Miami had 2 decades of being a down team. 2 decades. Are we kicking Miami out because they've been losing for 20 years until this season? No. Indiana had a losing record, for many seasons. They went to the college football playoff this year. Their only loss were 2. They had 2 losses. One was to Ohio State. The other one was to Notre Dame, the 2 teams that played in the national championship. So, I mean, what is preventing this idea of, let's just have 40 teams? Okay, the Big Ten will just expand to 24. The SEC can expand to 20. That's 44 teams. We'll take the best of the ACC. Maybe we'll go to the Big 12 and pick off a Kansas. Maybe if it makes Cody Campbell happy, we'll pick up a Texas Tech. And we'll just say, hey, here's our Super League. This is what you guys wanted. Here it is.
Yeah, that's great. It's just not super. It's just league. It's Big Ten league, SEC league. It's just not super enough. It's not NFL light. How? Because of the milk suckers, guys. The milk suckers are preventing this thing from being super. That's what I'm talking about. You guys know that's clear.
Are we going to do like a promotion and relegation? Is that what this is going to have?
No.
So if you're in, you're in. You'll never.
You're in. And we're talking about the biggest brands, the best brands, the 40 tops.
Okay.
40 tops.
Who decides that top 40?
Media companies.
Okay.
To maximize revenues and private equity too, because they'll be in this. Yeah, you guys want to know the truth? That's it. Who's going to decide it? The media companies.
How about the college presidents decide it and the commissioners of the Big Ten and the SEC? But because I mean, seriously, that's my point of view. If you go and pick off what's valuable to the ACC, this is basically we're forcing the Big Ten and SEC's hands even more than you were before. Before, we knew the four were going. We knew that Florida State, Clemson, Miami, UNC were going. We know those four were out the door. They wanted to be gone. UNC probably wants to take UVA with them. That's 5. The other ones weren't necessarily out the door yet. Well, now there's nothing stopping the Big Ten from going in there and saying, hey, Duke, we need a basketball blue blood. We're not going to pay you anything. You cover your own way for the first 10 years. Now you're in the Big Ten. Congratulations. Hey, Kansas. Yeah, Big 12 Kansas. Remember, we'll take you now. Come on in. Come on, Kansas. Oh, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State. We can have Bedlam back. SEC says, let's bring on Oklahoma State. If you want to impress Cody Campbell, you bring on Texas Tech. You bring on a TCU. You bring on a Virginia Tech. I mean, you can basically, you're forcing the Big Ten and SEC's hands at that point to strip both the ACC and Big 12 for parts, to take the most valuable elements left of those conferences and expand beyond what they might want to expand.
There's too many milk suckers in the Big Ten and the SEC to make it a real true elite league. I'm sorry, guys. Like, it is what it is.
It doesn't matter.
That's what Saban's proposing. That's exactly what he's saying. That's exactly what he's saying.
Proposing and having teeth behind that committee are two different things. Everything he has is just advisory. You're not going to go to Congress and say, this is our 40-school league. We want you to approve it. It would never get out of committee. The Senate will vote it down in a heartbeat because you're talking maybe at most 20 states involved with this. That's another, that would be 40 senators. You don't have enough votes. Like I said, this is all advisory. This committee has no teeth. They're just there to talk, like every other commission that has ever came out of DC. It doesn't matter as long as there is nothing behind it. It's just stuff on a piece of paper.
You guys want to see the Super League? I don't mean to trigger you guys. I don't mean to trigger a community. This will be a triggering exercise if you guys
would I like maybe the top, let's go 56, just due to the fact that that'll add another, that'll clean up the Big 12. So let's go 56. That can be doable because you'll be able to get enough political will to get it done. The problem is still that committee, they could write up the most beautiful proposal going. It's going to go to Birmingham, Alabama, and it will die because Greg Sankey will sit there and say, sorry, you guys, we're not breaking up the SEC.
The rebuttal to that would be the SEC is not breaking up, Mr. Sankey. You can keep it. You can play basketball in it. You can play baseball in it. You can play gymnastics, golf in it. You can do whatever your heart desires, but your football teams are going to play an invitational. Let's see, guys. I'm serious about this. We got to talk about this because Saban's bringing this up. If you want to talk about like who would be in a 40-team top brands, basically this kind of sums it up. Blue blood rankings. It's basically pick your 40. This is a simple exercise. This is truthful exercise. If it ever went to the Saban idea, these would be your 40.
Scroll down to number 4.
Alabama.
Yeah.
USC, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, of course. There's 5. Got 35 spots left. Michigan, Texas, Georgia, Nebraska, LSU in. Tennessee, Penn State, Florida State, Clemson, Florida in. Auburn, Texas A&M, Washington, Miami, UCLA in. Wisconsin, Michigan State, Iowa, Minnesota, Colorado in. Georgia Tech, look at that. Pittsburgh sneaks in too. Stanford gets in. Look at that.
Because-
Arkansas, Oregon, TCU, Miss, Arizona State. And then we're getting to the bubble teams, okay? Cal, Syracuse, Utah, West Virginia, BYU, Oklahoma State, and Missouri. And another bubble team is North Carolina. That's your Super League. That's your 40-brand Super League right there. That is the Super League, not with some schools that are currently in the Big Ten and the SEC that didn't make the cut, the milkers.
So you're going to count all those national championships that Pitt won pre-World War II. That's the reason why they're that high on the blue blood ranking. They haven't done squat in 30 years. And now you're sitting there saying, oh, yeah, they're in the Super League. Give me a break.
It's a simple exercise, and obviously TV ratings would come largely into this. Blend that with TV ratings like we do here all the time. It's not hard to figure out the top 40 most valuable brands for TV companies. You can do it, and there's plenty of Big Ten schools that aren't going to be in that. Let's just be real about it, have real talk. And SEC too. Guess what? Mississippi State's not going to be in it, guys. Vanderbilt's not going to be in it. We know that. Like, that's until there's consolidation amongst the Big Ten and the SEC, it will never truly be super.
Who's paying
Okay,
for it?
let me ask you a question. Is the NFL
Sure.
a super league?
The NFL Super League, yes.
Aren't there milkers in the NFL?
No.
No, they're not.
There is.
There is. I
There is.
I live in a state with two of them. They're called Cleveland and Cincinnati. They are
Yeah,
historic
Jacksonville
losers.
to that too.
Yeah, Jacksonville's another one. Historic losers. They lose more often than they win. But they're considered a super league. You have to have schools that lose in a super league. You say, I'm going to take these top 40. Well, eventually, 100 years from now, some of those teams are going to lose. There's going to be perennial losers on that list that maybe weren't perennial losers before, that suddenly become perennial losers. So how is it? Is it going to be a super league in 100 years?
Not 100 years.
Oh, okay.
It's a
See?
10-year shelf life.
Oh, okay. It's a 10-year shelf life. So I'm saying you can't say, well, there's milkers. There's milkers in every even professional conferences. There's milkers in the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball in particular has a lot of milkers.
Yeah, I was a
does.
fan of one of them.
It does.
Yeah, it does. So, I mean, you've got to have losers. And I understand you would prefer Utah be one of the losers than Purdue be one of the losers. I get that.
Yes.
I totally get that. I can completely understand that. Look, I know.
This notion's bothering me though, Mo, and this notion that like it takes so much to be a Big Ten milker. Like this new idea here, like, oh my gosh, all the resources invested and stuff, and you have no idea you're outside school and how tough it is in the Big Ten and just to eat losses all the time. No, don't give me that. Don't give me that freaking crap. That's bull crap. Anyone can take an L if you invest $1 into your program. It's easy to take L's. Don't give me that, Moan.
Purdue played in the Big Ten championship 3 years ago. They did. Indiana made it to the playoffs this year. They did. Rutgers played in a bowl game. I believe they won their bowl game this year. Their teams in the Big Ten. I know you think that they're just awful milkers. Minnesota has been fantastic since PJ Fleck took over there.
Before they were awful.
It's a tough conference to win when you've got Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and now USC. Now you've added USC into the equation and Oregon into the equation. And now it's going to be even tougher for some of those teams to win, but it's not like you make it seem like half the conference is going 1-10 at the end of the year. And that's just
I got another question. Is all 40 schools going to get the same payout, or is it going to be tiered? Like the top 10 would get this, the next 10 would get blank. How would that work? How is money going to work? Let's say 40th on the original scale wins the national championship. Are they going to get more money the next year? I mean, you got to look at how that's going to work too.
There's a lot of complexities, but this is the way.
We can't.
This is the way.
College football is ran more like Major League Baseball than what it is to NFL. And let me explain. You've got New York Yankees, and they have the Yes Network. They're making a ton of money. You've got the Dodgers, and they own their own network. They're making a ton of money. Now let's go to the Reds. I can't remember what market size the Reds are, but they're not making Yankees or Dodgers money. Let's go the Pirates. I know what market size that is. That's 27. They're not making the same amount of money. They never will. The NFL is set up with 32 capitalists that all talk like they're socialists. Every single one of them. They split revenue for everything. Mm-hmm. Can this 40-team league make it where everybody's going to want a bigger cut? I don't see it, because an Alabama's going to want a big cut. Georgia's going to want a bigger cut. A Michigan's want a bigger cut. Penn State's going to want a bigger cut. Ohio State's going to want a bigger cut. And where does that go? Where does number 35 through 40, where does that fit money-wise?
Those are good questions.
These are all good questions. Before we get to the next phase of it, I want to thank everybody for tuning in here to the College Football Mafia's Big Freaking Friday show here on Friday on the College Football Mafia Network. I know it's redundant, but that's the way we say it. Just want to let you know I have started a bunch of comments. We're going to get to them. If you want to guarantee your comment gets read, you will have to leave it as a super chat. Also, if you want to contribute in any way, you can go ahead and click that little cash icon that lets you leave a super chat or a super sticker or gift a membership or become a member and watch our members only shows that sometimes for some reason YouTube makes public for 6 hours
right
in the middle of the night. You can watch those as a member only as well. So thank you all for joining us. Let's get to some comments, guys. I've got a bunch of them started here. Troll Grinding Sheet Clapper says the Rose Bowl is USC's second home stadium. Been there 34 times and won 25 of those times. Last 3 I went to were all USC versus Penn State.
Mm-hmm. Go Trojans.
Belichick's 3 kids are worried about their inheritance.
Yeah,
that's gone.
Now, I'd imagine his wife, he was married at one time. I imagine she's got quite a bit of money, too, that she can leave him. I don't know. There's only one more polarizing and worse duo than Saban and Campbell, which is Saban and Stallions. Best case, a useless report costing tens of millions, but probably just chaos, lawsuits, and more cooks in the kitchen. Ronald Reagan said it best, some of the scariest words you'll ever hear is, I am from the federal government, and I am here to help. Now Moen needed to drink to forget that, and you reminded me of it, and I've got to drink again, Jan Hulk. You see what you're doing to me?
Go blue.
Thank you for allowing me to do that, Jan. Moen, just like Michigan's natty, can be bought. Thank you, Go Black 45. Les Austin Jr. Ask Bomber to make that Michigan voiceover for only Michigan fans. Yeah, unfortunately, guess who the tech whiz is here at the College Football Mafia? That's not going to be a soundbite. Wasn't Ohio the victors in the Toledo War and not Michigan?
Goodness.
Technically true, but we ended up with Toledo and they ended up with the Upper Peninsula. The mineral-rich Upper Peninsula, which continues to provide their state tons of wealth, and we ended up with Toledo, which is Toledo.
Go Rockets.
I had a friend of mine from Zanesville, Ohio. He said, remember, we went to, what was it? We went to war over Toledo. It's like, yeah, and Ohio lost. They got Toledo.
Yeah, we got Toledo. Go Black 45. It won't happen. It'll be 60 at most. He's saying 60 teams.
Maybe. Well, 60 would make the 20 in the SEC, 20 in the Big Ten, and 20 in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Those numbers work. But I don't see, you would still keep the existing contracts.
And Jan Hoke brings that up, a great point. And don't forget, they would need to pay them out of the Big Ten network too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Top 40 Hokies in, and that's why it won't happen. Was Virginia Tech in that top 40 list?
No.
Oh man, they were a bubble team.
No, I think they were like 43, I believe.
We can't trust Dan Gygax. He's a West Virginia fan. We're not going to trust his word on that.
Well, here's the thing with Virginia
45.
Tech,
Virginia Tech's 45.
Okay, until Beamer showed up, they weren't all that good in Blacksburg. I mean, they had some really lean years. And oh yeah, by the way, Virginia Tech's never won a team national championship in anything ever. None.
Dan, you don't need to say that though.
Jesus, John Boxleitner. Oh, that's Daniel Gygax.
Sorry,
That's
John.
that's not the opinion of Moen or Wild U.
Yeah.
Conundrum says, "Sorry, you're not invited into the country club.
Just let me in this country club. Come on.
We have standards here at Bushwood, sir.
Just let me in the dang party."
It won't work. They will meet in the middle. That every Power 4 program that can financially afford to compete at the highest level, there's no way they can keep those teams from competing. Trump knows.
Here's the thing. You're also looking at how many of those Power 4 teams, after a couple of years of having to pay the $20 million in revenue sharing, which, oh yeah, by the way, we still don't know what's happening with that, say, we might drop out of Power 4 athletics and move down to a G5 or move down to a FCS. I mean, it could happen. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff happening with intercollegiate athletics lately.
Iowa State's in serious financial trouble.
Yes, they are.
That's come out over the last 2 weeks. They've got enough money to support rev sharing for 2 years. And then the AD doesn't know where the money's going to come from. That is a reality for almost every single Big 12 program right now. That's not just alone. The Big 12 needs more money, guys, to compete. That is the root issue. The media rights money is just not enough to compete with this new rev share that's been put into place. Like Utah is going to be in the negatives. Utah historically has always shown profits over the last 10 years in the Pac-12 era. They never showed a deficit. Now they're eating $20 million deficits. It's a serious issue. It's a financial issue and for Big 12 schools. And so there's no immediate solution in sight outside of private capital.
That's a weird noise. Sounds like the aliens are tapping in, or the federal government's tapping in now.
Oh, great. Did you upset the CIA there, Mo?
Yeah, probably. My CIA guy, he loves me. Mark Harlan ain't Super League material. Oh, he's going to do a strongly worded statement against that. Troll Grinding Cheat Clapper says, my fear is Big 12 and others causing Big and SEC to say, F it, screw the others, when at the moment no one wants to play Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama every game, killing their kids. You need U of A's and Boise State games. That's right. You got to have milkers. Got to have winners. You got to have losers. Conundrum says NFL has milkers every year. They're called the Cleveland Browns. We need the Monday Night Wars, but in college football, but on Saturdays. Okay. Who's going to be the Stone Cold Steve Austin and who's going to be the Goldberg?
I'm Goldberg.
That's fine. You can be Goldberg. I'd rather be Mick Foley. Mick Foley's
that makes sense.
Purdue equals Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that's a really good comp right there.
No, Purdue's actually won bowl games. And
Vikings have never won a Super Bowl. That's true, and I believe they've competed in 4 or 5.
They have. Fran Tarkenton was the quarterback then. back in the 70s.
So who's the college football comp for the Vikings, guys?
WVU.
No, WVU.
Or is it Virginia Tech?
WVU hasn't played in that many. You got to play in a bunch of national championships and never win.
They've played in 3.
Okay, that's 3. I'm sure we can find another team out there. We'll have to have our crack investigation team over at ChatGPT tell us who that is. The only reason is not super enough is Utah doesn't make it.
You guys know me too well.
Purdue has more Hall of Fame quarterbacks than the Cleveland Browns. That's actually probably true.
Yeah.
Drew Brees, Bob Greasy. Yeah, there have been a lot of great quarterbacks that came through Purdue. It used to be called the cradle of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Once the ACC falls, P3 will have their own division with their own rules with no input from lower schools to stop them. That's all they want.
Somewhat. A lot of it, you got to remember, for football, the rules will probably be fairly standardized at that P3 level. But whenever it comes down to basketball and sports like that, because that basketball tournament makes a ton of money, you don't want to mess with that.
David Floyd says Texas Tech is greater than the rest of the Big 12. Sorry, Utah.
Kudos to Texas Tech and Cody Campbell. Love what you're doing down there. Mad respect.
Conundrum says 20 SEC plus 20 Big 10 equals 40. The country club jackets required. Absolutely right. We've got velvet smoking jackets with little padded lapels. They are very sweet. Sorry, you're not Super League material. Bushwood material, so. JMath 1978 just says no, which I'm fine with. I appreciate the negativity.
No,
I really do. Brandon Unruh says a new league will never work without including all 4 power conferences and the independents. It just won't. You can't leave out perennial winning teams. It's going to have to be like a 70-team league.
Well, wait a sec. If you leave Notre Dame out, I will sign up for any Super League that you have. If you leave them out, I will be the biggest fan in the world. If you just leave the Fighting Irish out, I think Moen will agree.
I will. At this point, I think Notre Dame should be disbanded. Troll Grinding Cheat Clapper says, thank God I come from Los Angeles, where for every milker, there's at least one national champion in all of the pro sports. Yeah, it's funny how that happens, isn't it? How these big city markets tend to have a lot of winners.
Yeah, you got the Clippers.
Morris Simmons says, no more table scraps.
that's seriously. Leave this one up for a second. That's the problem here, guys. The table scraps, like the smugness, the thumbing the nose at Big 12 and ACC not being in the elite power too. Table scraps. Don't want to eat table scraps. Nobody wants to eat table scraps. There's no entryway into this house to the club, and you just want us to eat table scraps and be happy with it while you all pull away and stuff on your little yachts and have a little boat party. No, we're going to get on that boat. We getting on that boat. No more table scraps.
Now, how are you going to do this? If you're going to sit there and start saying markets, State College, PA is out in the middle of nowhere. That's not a big market. Now, granted, that they piggyback off of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't know what size market that is, but it's not a top 50 market.
Brands.
Yeah.
Brand strength. That's different than market.
I know it is.
Eyeballs. Fan
know it
base.
is.
No table scraps. Florida State's the fact that Florida State's not even in the party is unbelievable. I'm not getting into that.
All right. So, jumping off of this, we've discussed Nick Saban's, and we discussed his idea that he has mentioned. Now we can go to our friend from Texas Tech, and what he wants to do is socialize college football. everybody gets to pool their money and everybody gets the same money. If you're an Ohio State or you're an Ohio University, if you're a Penn State or you're Penn, if you're Texas Tech, you would all make the same revenue. And you would all get negotiated at the same rate for your television contracts.
So he's going to start making money, spending money on WVU's NIL?
Apparently so. And as mentioned earlier, when he sells his company, he will distribute it to every other energy company at an equal rate, as is dictated under the tenets of Karl Marx' fine works from 150 years ago that have not worked out yet. What are our thoughts on what dear old Kobe has come up with?
Go ahead, Daniel.
Okay. I don't like it. And like I said, college football is baseball. It's not the NFL. The reason why the NFL went to that equal revenue sharing model, it was done back in the 60s. And it was done for this team that I have a share of right up here, the Green Bay Packers. It was done for Green Bay. It was done for Cleveland. And I can't remember one other team that was there. And the reason why they did that is they wanted all these teams to have a little bit better foothold out there. They didn't want teams to fail. And teams were were close to bankrupt. So now you don't have that bankruptcy type thing with college football. Like I said, this is a baseball model. You're looking at Milwaukee Brewers, New York Yankees. That would be like Ohio State, and that would be like a WVU in difference in money. That's just the way the world works. It's always worked that way. Has WVU ever came close to the amount of money that Ohio State has? Close. They can close the gap a little bit, but it's not going to happen. You have different rules at that level. I don't like this idea. Are the Ohio Bobcats as valuable? Sorry, Steve, that I know he's a Bobcats guy. Are they as valuable as the Ohio State Buckeyes? Nowhere close. You can't do a revenue sharing model like that in college athletics and have it work well. And even then, let's get right down to it. The SEC is dead set against this. We haven't heard a hard no, we're not going to play from Tony Petitti, but he doesn't sound like he's interested in it either. So, and who's going to fund this? Who is going to cut the checks for all this to happen? We're talking private capital, but even then, after X number of years, let's say that they're losing money. Then what? What happens then? Let's say that they're not getting the same returns as they thought they were. Are they going to just pull the plug on it? I don't know.
It'd be ESPN's worst nightmare, Fox's worst nightmare, because they'd be shelling out a lot more money than they are now. It'd be very bad for those companies. Let me ask just a rhetorical question for you guys and the community. And I would really like an honest response. I think I know the answer, but this is going to highlight what's at the root of this. Okay, say that Cody Campbell's plan is instituted and you've got 70, 100, I don't know how many schools were included, but say this idea works and every single school involved in this new conference got $200 million per year in media rights revenue. Okay, 200 million. Say that, just play the game, say that happened, okay? And then alternatively, the Big Ten and the SEC in the same time period work out media deals where they're making 150 million in media rights money within their conferences, but the Big 12's way behind them. The G5 is way behind them too. Which scenario as a Big Ten or SEC member would you take? an all equal, more money, $200 million for everybody, or $150 for your conference and your school, with everybody else not having as much?
Well, let's break this down first. That $200 million, that's coming with federal regulation, which means take $100 million right off the top and kick it up to the feds. You're probably going to get a CBA agreement so you can kick off another $50 million going to the players just in football, not in all of college athletics. You're making less money. So you might say, oh, you're making $200
let's play
million.
the game. Say you didn't. Say that you'd make $50 million more doing this model.
No, I don't want to give up playing everybody in the Big Ten.
Exactly. And and it's not even about that. It's about the advantage of having more money. That's what I'm getting at. And that's, you know it, Moan. I know it. Everybody knows it. Is it more advantageous getting paid more money in the Big Ten?
Again, this is capitalism. This is the free market. The Big Ten took risks to gain that advantage. Everybody said the Big Ten was idiots when they added Maryland and Rutgers. Everybody said the Big Ten was idiots when they formed their own network. Big Ten was the first to do that. And all the universities had to agree to spend money, not only building the facilities needed to support it, but to actually get the network up and running. That all came from those universities. They made that investment. And now you want to come back and say, yeah, you guys made the investment. You took all the risks. You made all this money. Give it to us.
They lost money
because we didn't think of that, or we didn't want to take that risk. So you give the money to us. How is that fair?
Well, there's a new risky idea on the table right now that Campbell's proposing. And I'm just saying, if it worked out to be more money than the Big Ten can make, you still wouldn't do it. That's my point. And you know it, and I know it because of the advantages. I get it.
Because the Big Ten took all the risks. They took all the risks. And they should reap all the rewards. Yes, I believe in that.
So you're actually giving up possible resources to have those inherent advantage. Right. Like that's the problem. This is the problem. College athletics.
I want to stick with the people that stuck with us. In Michigan and Michigan State and Purdue and Indiana, Penn State, we all gave the equal amount of money. We all took the equal risk in order to do that, in order to achieve success. And we've achieved success. And now because we've achieved success and others haven't, others have not achieved success, they want to take it out on us for achieving success. That is exactly what it is.
How much money did Utah spend building digital studios for the Pac-12?
I would imagine a lot.
Millions. And that's what the Big Ten did years ago. The problem is the Pac-12 wanted to go alone. Big Ten at least were smart enough to say, hey, Fox, can you help us? And Fox they're still taking blank amount off the top every year. And then the rest of it's distributed to the universities.
I understand what you guys are saying. I think that I'm touching on a point that is not spoken, but it's the truth. That like you guys in the Big Ten and the SEC have an advantage financially, exposure-wise, and you don't want to share that. Even if it were to yield more for everybody, including yourself. You don't want to share that because of the advantages. I get it. I would feel the same way if I were you. Right. But like that's the situation we're looking at.
Okay. I think there's an unspoken thing you're touching, not touching on. The reason you want that is jealousy. You are jealous of the position that the Big Ten and the SEC find themselves in because of the hard work, initiative, and risk
Machiavellianism
those conferences took. Go ahead, Daniel.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this. The Utah Jazz, let's say that they're like, the team up there in Portland, they're having a hard time. Do you think that, Ryan Smith is going to give money directly to Portland? No. He's going to use that money to sign his own players. He's not going to. The league is there to help, not individual schools.
Like we have a new paradigm where we've got a concept that can make more for the Big Ten schools and everybody else. So everybody's making more in this scenario. But my point is that you wouldn't even take that because of the advantages that are built in right now. I get it. That's what I'm saying. And like, I think that's the root problem right there. That's got to be attacked if there's ever going to be more parity across college football.
I understand what you're saying, but it's a hypothetical scenario. We don't know that.
It's a hypothetical that gets to a root, and the root is like, hey, I've got an advantage over these schools. I'm not going to let them in the club.
And it's a hypothetical that gets to the root that you're jealous of the success of others.
When has there ever been parity?
You can say jealousy, even playing field, better for the sport, whatever you want. I don't care what you say. Like, I mean, it's just a system right now.
But when has there ever been parity in college football?
Or
Never.
Life, right? Like
never.
I get it.
So they're not wanting parity in college football. You're talking about rewinding, and you're talking about undoing billions of dollars in contracts to come up with a parity system. It's going to be a mess. And like I said, this proposal, it has no teeth. Nothing. They can write the nicest proposal on a piece of paper. It's going to go to Birmingham. It's going to go to Chicago. They'll say, oh, wow, this looks neat, and throw it in the shredder because it's not going to help their conference.
Look, it might be born out of jealousy, Moan. It probably is. Sure. But like, okay, well, this is the dynamic. You're outside looking in. You don't have the advantages. You're getting cut out of the sport essentially and bled. And so really the only options are to attack that system. And like if it's going to be through politics or whatever, that's exactly what's happening now. That's not talked about. It's really what's happening underneath the surface.
You're attacking that system through robbery.
Right.
It's robbery. It's stealing.
Well, I mean, like you stole USC. USC stole USC.
We didn't steal USC.
So that's how the game goes.
USC wanted out.
USC wanted out. Free pizza doctrine, man. USC came to us. UCLA came to us. Washington and Oregon came to us. How did we steal them? Maryland and Rutgers came to us. How did we steal them? Nebraska came to us. It's other people's. If Texas had not started the Longhorn Network, the Big 12 would still be a very strong conference. Right. But the rest of them acquiesced and let Texas do what Texas wanted to do, and they lost Texas A&M, Colorado, Mizzou, and Nebraska.
And all that is because they wanted to do the same type of network setup that they saw that the Big Ten had. And Texas said, no, went around everybody's back, signed that Longhorn Network deal. And that's whenever everybody's like, okay, we just got screwed. We're out of here. And seriously, if you had a conference still with A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, that right there would probably rival the money that you have with the SEC and the money that you have with the Big Ten. Easily.
So
have Nebraska, Nebraska, Oklahoma play each other every single year again? Of course, you're going to get some pretty good ratings. Texas and Texas A&M, yeah. But Texas got greedy and then almost caused that conference to collapse. And if it wasn't for the fact that that ESPN came in there and said, okay, we'll overpay everybody else for a couple of years to keep everybody happy. Still nobody was happy because guess who was still making all the money? Texas. Texas has no leverage in the SEC. None. Nada. Because Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee will sit there and just say, get out of here.
Every idea that comes up that's related to any concept of Super League, Saban League, whatever you want to talk about, is attacking that idea of the advantage. That's really what's going on there. It's attacking and trying to knock that down and stuff because that's real and exists. And what's difficult too is colleges are nonprofits, guys. These aren't for-profit NFL franchises. And so we're in a different realm too. So there is going to be a little bit more legal ramifications with this because they're nonprofits. There's going to be a little bit more nuance with this. I'm just being honest on how I see it. We can talk Super League and everything else is jarring. People are sick of it. There's a million different things you can talk about. It's all attacking that system of advantage that's currently built up to build more competitive balance. If it's jealousy, call it whatever you want, but that's still what's happening. It's the attack on that to even the playing field.
Jack Cobra Cat with a $4.99 super chat says
Hey.
states like Iowa and Utah were never big enough for more than one power football team. Nature's will is to streamline. All right, let me try and say this again. Is to streamline the superfluousness.
So you're going to say that the Utah Utes and Iowa State Cyclones don't matter in college football anymore. That's basically what they're saying. And Iowa State, they've got some pretty good team. Utah's had some pretty good teams. But are you going to sit there and say they don't matter anymore in college football? They still matter.
Let me play him a sounder, and I think this one is apropos for the frivolity and festivities of the evening.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
From the great They Live with Roddy Piper, one of my favorite movies. Thank you for the super chat, Jacobra Cat. It is much appreciated, sir. We take your superfluousness at face value. Thank you. Let's get to some more comments here. I think I've got enough starred here. I've got 41 starred. I think we got enough starred.
There's like 300 comments.
Yeah, I know.
They're gonna be roasting, man.
Yeah, it's fast and furious, guys. If you want to guarantee it gets read, it's going to have to be a super chat. We haven't even got into the 16-team playoff yet.
Okay.
That's coming up next. I don't think we're going to have any. I think we've beat this dead horse of the Presidential Committee on College Athletics and Wealth Redistribution enough. So, D5 Terp says, "Amen, brother. We played Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan every year." You're right.
Yep.
That Maryland started the year with 3 losses. Government rarely fixes anything. Presented with nobody disagreed with you. So, Conundrum says, "Let's do the regular season where it's equal cash and playoff cash is to keep yours. Is yours to keep."
Still won't work.
Sign.
Brewers never make the playoffs. That's true, but they had Bob Uecker.
Yeah.
You got a commentator like Bob Uecker. I mean, you got to appreciate that. Have you guys seen some of these top 25 post spring? Some teams might surprise you. I've seen Texas as low as 11th. We do our preseason picks at the end of the summer, and I can tell you, I think we were probably off on about 75% of them. A lot of them we thought were going to have surprising seasons last year. I believe I had Rutgers as a surprise, which they did. They performed pretty well, but there were some other teams that were surprising in the other way. I think I had Florida State winning the ACC and playing in the getting one of the top 4 seeds in the college football playoff. So,
who had Arizona State?
Nobody. Who had Indiana? Nobody. South Carolina is predicted to be very good this year. They were predicted to be good last year too. Yeah. We'll see. They didn't make the playoffs, even though the SEC thought they should have. And that'll take us into our 16-team playoff discussion here in a minute.
Oop.
Poor coaching and poor draft, Moen. Story of Cleveland, the factory of sadness. I said this 2 years ago. You know, the thing with Cleveland is they drafted a good quarterback, a winning quarterback who took them to the playoffs. And then they traded him and brought in Deshaun Watson, who has played maybe 4 games and has been awful. But they got Shadur Sanders, so fingers crossed that they continue that factory of sadness. I said this 2 years ago. Super League is coming. Too much money. The payout will be tremendous.
Who's paying?
Private equity.
Yeah, private equity. And who's taking? The federal government.
Yeah.
Wranglers are made in Toledo. That's just another
No,
reason for
they're
me-
not. Are they really?
Yes, they are.
reason for-
Yeah.
yeah. Another reason for me not to like
Yeah.
Toledo. Wranglers are nut huggers. They are
Yeah,
nut hugging jeans.
Jeep's biggest factory where they build Wranglers and something else, and I can't remember, is right there it's called Toledo North, and they've been made there since 1941.
So you're talking Wrangler Jeeps or Wrangler jeans?
Jeeps. The Jeep.
Oh, okay. I don't have an
Jeep.
issue with the Wrangler
Jeep.
Jeep. The Wrangler jeans, though, are nut huggers. Do not like. They cut right in the nuts. There's 5 Big 12 teams in almost every post-spring top 25. Yeah, again, that's another one. Kansas. I thought Kansas was going to be really good last year. Did not pan out till the end of the season. I did not have BYU as high as I probably should have. In fact, I thought Cam Rising was going to take Utah to the promised land. That didn't work out either. He could. Well,
alternate universe.
Or Oklahoma State collapsing.
Yeah.
That's true too. Ollie Gordon, preseason Heisman favorite, just kind of fell off the map. The only one they have to buy out is the SEC. Big 10 and Big 12 end at the same time. You're talking about media contracts. That does not include the Big 10 network, though.
That does not include buying out of there's. I know the Big 12 has a 99-year contract that you have to buy out of. So, like whenever Texas and Oklahoma left, they had to buy out of not only the last year of the media agreement, but they had to buy out of the whole entire Big 12. So that's the reason why they had to cut those checks for it's like $100 million to get for both of them to get out.
Jose says, I'd like the ACC, Big 12, Notre Dame, Wazoo, Oregon State Union. I'm for it. Knock yourself out.
As long as it's not Notre Dame.
And make sure that Notre Dame and you get equal money. And see how long Notre Dame agrees to that. Trump picking Saban shows he probably doesn't college football or expects us to have teeth, and that I could probably convince him that the Gipper was the best center cornerback kicker in 2024, just as long as you win one for the Gipper boys. I got that reference, troll grinding cheek clapper. I'm an old man. Big 12 about to be DX until the Big 10 SEC to suck it. Yeah, but they're not going to be that good DX, dude. They're going to be that shitty DX, like the 2014 DX, where it was like old man Shawn Michaels and old man Triple H. Not that good DX.
X-Pac.
Here we go. Tears for Notre Dame. Absolutely. Tears for Notre Dame. If I had a spare 100, I'd have Moen sing cheer, cheer for old Notre Dame. I don't know. If you had a spare 100, you might want to donate that to Notre Dame, so maybe they'll win a national championship.
Oh.
Or maybe beat Ohio State for the first time since 1936.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Yeah, I want to save this new one. Let him cook.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
Thank you very much. Conundrum says Penn State equals the Steelers.
Darn near.
Yeah, that's
Steelers have won. The Steelers have won some championships in the 21st century, though. Just saying.
3. No, 2.
Saban is the direct catalyst for NIL revenue share era. That is absolutely true. Isn't it funny that Nick Saban is so against NIL, and as soon as NIL took place, SEC has had trouble winning championships.
Mm-hmm.
Here was something I'm trying to remember. It was whenever Jimbo Fisher was still at A&M. That there's Nick Saban. This probably right whenever NIL was approved, probably 3-4 years ago. basically he was there at a donor meeting saying, we're getting outspent and we need you to donate so we can take on all these teams. And there's a team in Texas that has more money than they know what to do with.
Texas Tech.
No, that A&M at the time.
Yeah, and Jimbo Fisher called him out and said, "Hey, I was on your staff. I know where the bodies are buried."
Yes, he
So
did.
Don't act
That
like
was
you weren't
that
paying
was
people
2
off.
days later.
Yeah, so don't act like you weren't paying people off, and we knew you were paying people off.
Everybody
Ohio State was too.
You think that all those nice cars there at the WVU players parking lot were done by family members? No.
Gotta pay some people.
Yeah.
I think only the P3 when the ACC falls. So I don't disagree with that. I like that. We can just have P3 and then everybody competes, and those of us who are successful get to keep our success. Go Black 45 says Knoxville is ranked 60 in the DMA.
Okay. I know.
So I think you would have
50.
to you would have to include Nashville and Memphis in there for Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem with DMAs. If you just go with the exact DMA, it's not going to give you an accurate reading. Rob Ellen says Ute rant. I like it. A distant second to a Moen rant, but entertaining nonetheless. I think you heard my Moen rant when Ute brought up the idea of Marxism in college football.
Has it come to that, Moen? Has it really come to that over here?
Conundrum says Marxist Super League, the MSL. There you go.
Shut the front.
John Dry, just share with the ZP3, I think of 24 schools each, plus possibly private equity.
The ZP3.
He corrected himself. It was the P3.
Hmm.
Semi-pro college football becoming pro college football. That's what Nick Saban wants. Troll grinding cheek clapper. So Texas Tech guy wants a socialized equal playing field. Alaska must be celebrating that they'll finally get a team for their new ice block stadium. Go Polar Bears.
Rough.
Hawaii has to be ecstatic too.
Oh yeah.
All those teams are going to have to travel to Hawaii now. So get ready. Orby Capital and the richest sports donors separate from the rest. That's right. If Cody, if Cody wants to be so giving, he can give all the money he wants to Texas Tech, and they can be winning in the Big 12 for the next 25 years.
Nonprofit organization.
Sorry, John. The 3 are milk suckers. The P2 are money makers. That's right.
Wait, whoa. Wait, so the 3, like the P3, are milk suckers?
I think he's saying the Big 12, the ACC, and Oregon State, Washington State.
Yeah.
We're the milk suckers?
Yes.
Yeah.
What milk are we leeching?
Hey, we could be playing more Big 10 games in those time slots that you guys occupy.
Oh, gosh.
John Dry says, I think Texas Tech should be in the elite league in every sport, local talent, plus money. You got the money part right. But like I said, if you want to really move up Texas Tech, pay them for the next 25 years. Mr. Campbell, pay him for 25 years, win 25 Big 12 championships. I'm sure somebody will be after you for conference realignment.
Think about how
Texas
much
Tech
money
needs to pay it. Go ahead.
A&M spent. A&M spent buku money. Had top 5 recruiting classes. What did that win them? Nothing.
SEC Big will pull out. Our pull-out game is strong. And put the new product on the market, Amazon, etc. You're right. Listen, if we're going to a 40-team Super League, I don't see why we need to even let them decide who the 40 teams are. SEC and Big will just go off. We'll pick the parts of the Big 12 and ACC we want, and we'll leave the rest for you. Rob Ellen says unions for sure. Absolutely. Morris Simmons says the payout of the Super League will be much higher than the Big and the SEC. Might be, might not be. We don't know. What will be the handout that goes to the federal government from that Super League? MBM says hard work. They poached conferences to up the cash, and now they're too good and want to break off. Give me a break. I'm sorry, MBM. I like you, but the Big Ten did take a risk. ESPN basically told them, take it or leave it. You're rolling the dice if you walk out the door. And Jim Delaney said, let the dice be rolled. And he walked out the door and formed the Big Ten Network and made his conference one of the richest conferences in college football. And yes, those teams all took a lot less money for those years getting that Big Ten Network up and running. And since then, everybody else has tried to duplicate that, duplicate it. You've got the SEC network, the ACC network.
Pac-12 is the first network, Moan. The Pac-12 network is the first.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. The Big Ten Network was way ahead of it, brother.
07.
The Pac-12 network, man.
No. The very first Big Ten Network game was Appy State winning at the Big House. That was 2007.
Yep.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
No wonder no one saw that live.
Everybody remembers that call, though, since I was so fondly made to sing that song earlier. I will remind people. Appalachian State has a ball. Appalachian State doesn't win a game over the Wolverines. Wolverines were ranked number 5 in that game, by the way. Number 5, and Appalachian State was unranked.
Appy State was FCS at the time.
At the time, yeah. They were FCS national champions.
Yes, they were.
So, yes, there is hard work that went into it, MBM. There is hard work. Now, we did. You want to say, again, and this is where they poached the conferences. How much poaching is? I mean, listen, if I go deer hunting and a deer literally walks up to the end of my barrel, am I really going to call that, say, wow, I really nailed that deer? I tracked that deer. It walked right up into it. It's not poaching when they come to you.
I know.
It's like if somebody treated their girlfriend like shit, and the girlfriend dumped them, and then you get with the girlfriend, and they're like, oh, I can't believe you got with my girlfriend. Oh, the girlfriend you treated like shit and didn't want, and suddenly now I'm tapping it and I'm the bad guy. No, that's not how it works.
It's like Jordan's broke prior boyfriend jumping over to Bill Belichick.
Yeah. As long as I got Jordan. College football is like other industries. If you have more customers, i.e. eyeballs, and or a better product, you will be more successful, richer. It's simple, open market dynamics.
Yes.
Our friend Tom Dubay understood the assignment.
It's a nonprofit entity.
John
you guys
Dry
understand that universities are nonprofits.
Well,
this isn't a pro franchise. Seriously,
University of Kentucky announced, what was it, a couple days ago, that they're taking their athletics and turning it into an LLC.
Well, that changes the game.
And you want to know something? I bet you by the middle of next year, you'll probably see 30 schools do the same thing.
Yeah, paying more tax, that's for sure. On your media distributions,
you can still do it as you can still do it as an LLC,
you'll be paying your
nonprofit. Yeah,
you cannot. No, you cannot, Daniel. LLC, you'll be paying taxes on. They flow through to individuals. LLC will be paying taxes. It's not a nonprofit. So if you do that, taxes will be paid to the federal government.
How they're setting it up.
You've got a master's in finance, Daniel. You might.
How they're setting it up is the same way that they're doing the University of Kentucky hospitals, and they have all those set up to where they're. I can't remember the exact term. I thought it was nonprofit, and I can't remember the exact term that they use for all their hospitals.
With some creative structure, it could be in that way, to try to avoid federal taxes, but you can't you can't commercialize the athletic department, or you're going to pay a ton of tax. They don't want to do that. That's why they don't want to make them employees.
No, it's going to be it's going to be separate from the university, the same way that they that they did with their hospital system. It's still a part of the University of Kentucky, but they're going to try to cheat the rules so they don't have to put them on the University of Kentucky payroll.
Wouldn't that be
It would be a part
fascinating
of that
though if they
LLC.
did that? Because at that point, you're not even linked to like the education part. It's just football, right? It's essentially that anyway. But like you're just saying, forget the education part. We're just going to we're going to put branding on you. We're going to recruit you and stuff, and you're semi-pro. We're not going to even skirt around like you're going to class. And then that blows the crap out of this milker thing, the Big Ten milker thing, where you're like, hey, you know, Northwestern has so much in academic excellence. If the players aren't even going to school anymore, it's a moot point.
They're not there.
If it's just semi-pro ball,
if you're going to Northwestern, you're going there for school.
Yes,
those football players are genius. Listen, I tried to get into Northwestern, couldn't get in. It is a fantastic school. Anybody who can get in there by any means will get in there. And you'll just have to enjoy this. Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug. He needs some milk. Where is he needs some milk?
Needs some milk right now.
He needs some milk. Special, he needs some milk. He needs some milk.
He needs some milk. He needs some milk.
We got to get through some of these guys. We got to crack on. We got to still talk about the playoff.
Let's talk about the playoff.
John Dry says, I think Texas Tech is valued at 32, moving up in all men's and women's sports. Okay. Sergeant Pickle says, I had Indiana last in the big.
We all did.
No, I think I had somebody else last. I think I had Purdue last, and I think I was right. Troll grinding cheek clapper, only equal sharing I'd maybe okay with is a national fund that all schools add to for student athletes' health care. Works like insurance. Most student athletes won't ever need it, but still, I don't know. That's a very good idea. I think they should do that regardless. Sergeant Pickles, I'm working on a project where I pretend we had the 16-team playoffs since 2014. Spoilers, but it's a lot of Big Ten and SEC.
That's
hopefully a lot of Ohio State winning those playoff games. John Dry, this ain't no Pac-12 universe no more, Utah. LOL.
It's hard to give up the wine and cheese. It's hard, guys.
You're only giving up the cheese, you. David Floyd says Big 12 basketball is crazy good.
It is.
Absolutely is. Not going to deny it. Not going to deny it. All right, guys, we got to talk now about the new playoff format that is being discussed, that is being lauded, and is seeming more and more likely by the day. A new 16-team playoff, no byes, 4 + 4 + 2 + 2 + 1 + 3. And for that, I've got a very special sounder that I want to play real quick.
1 + 2 + 2 + 1.
There was only one shot that got the chandelier. That's 1 + 2 + 1 + 1.
Even if you were right, that would be 1 + 1 + 2 + 1, not 1 + 2 + 1 + 1.
Wow.
Some people will get that reference. But yes, they are talking about a 4-4-2-2-1-3. That means 4 for the Big Ten, 4 for the SEC, 2 for the ACC, 2 for the Big 12, 1 for the G5, and 3 at-larges, which means that you're going to have independent Notre Dame would be part of those at-larges. So you might as well say 2 at-larges because Notre Dame is always going to get in with one of those at-large spots.
Yeah.
So what do we think, guys?
It's what's been talked for the past year. I mean, whenever they did that announcement yesterday, it's like, okay, we've heard it for a year. It's just now that they're talking about it again in a conference, saying, hey, this is what we want to do. It's not like it's a shock. The only thing that I'm wondering is, are they going to reseed after each round? Or are they going to just go ahead and make it like a bracket?
Here's the thought. You see that? That's a heart right there. That's a heart, a finger heart. That's exactly how I feel about this new proposal. This is a fantastic development for the Big 12. I know some are crying and balking and everything else. Look, the reality is the Big 12 is going to be putting one team in the playoff in this 12-team format for most years. It's not realistic to assume that you're going to get two teams in the 12-team playoff in most years, guys. It's just not. Didn't happen last year. It's not projected to happen this year. Getting two automatic berths is a boon for the Big 12. Gives schools like West Virginia and Utah a chance to get in the playoff, another opening and everything. I absolutely love it. And then at the end of the day, when the ACC does get eaten up by Big 10, the SEC, and the Big 12, and that moves to 3 playoff spots, that's even more fantastic. More opportunity. Freaking love it. It's so exciting because you're not completely out of it. You're always going to be in the playoff hunt, especially if there's multiple berths on the line in the Big 12. So I'm all for it. 100% support. Hope it goes to 3 after the ACC gets eaten up. But I think this is a fantastic development for watching Big 12 football down the line.
I like the idea of no buys. I just think that works so much better. It gives us more games. There is no excuses. A lot of the teams that got buys this year use it as an excuse. Oregon Ducks. But, you know, I think getting rid of the buys is an important thing. I would prefer to see the G5 get 2. I think, you know, if we're giving the ACC and Big 12 2, I think the G5, that's a lot more conferences. I would like to see them get a second team in as well, and then go to just 2 at-larges, and with one of them being Notre Dame, obviously. And then Big and SEC will have arguments every year over that last spot, which would make the Big 10 SEC scheduling agreement that much more important. So I like the idea. I'm for a 16-team playoff. I'm for no buys. I'm for the I like the split too, 4-4-2-2. I'd like to see that 1 become a 2 and that 3 become a 2. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on it. I like it. I like it. I have no complaints about it. Other than I want to see the G5 conferences get 2 teams in as opposed to 1.
Man, I don't know about that. 2 teams for G5. You think the G5 can field 2 competitive teams every given year?
I don't think the G5 can field 1 competitive team, but I mean, listen, if we're giving everybody's getting at least 2 teams in, you've got 5 conferences. Actually, we're going to end up with a G6 by the time this is all said and done. And I'm not saying that they couldn't both be from the same conference. You could have Washington State and Oregon State, one finish up as conference champion, one finish up as conference runner-up, and you put them both in. But I mean, there's a lot more schools in the G6 to choose from for 2 teams. So I just think it would be more equitable if we're going to include 2 teams from the Big 12, 2 teams from the ACC, which are single conferences. It might make sense to include 2 teams from 6 different conferences.
Also,
would you be supportive of a cap on the Big 10 and the SEC? Like you cannot be you can't access at-large spots. It's got to go somewhere else.
No, I wouldn't support that. At-large spot is going to be at-large spot. One of them is going to go to Notre Dame.
It's going to be a Big 10 and SEC spot.
Well, maybe it could be a Big 12 or an ACC spot. We don't know. You're making assumptions there. There have been crazy years where there have been 3 teams that have all been competing. So it could be a third G5 spot for all we know. It could be a third Big 12, third ACC spot. So, but yeah, I'm not going to cap that at large, and I'm not even going to knock Notre Dame out of it because Notre Dame gets to stay independent, and Notre Dame, because they're Notre Dame, and because the ACC lets them schedule special, unlike every other team, Notre Dame is going to be guaranteed one of those at-large spots every single year. It just is. That is not. If you're looking at it as it is now and saying, "Oh, there's 3 at-larges," no, there's 2 at-larges. One is going to Notre Dame.
Every year, Notre Dame just gets it.
Every year, because they're Notre Dame.
A 9-3 Notre Dame could get in.
Yeah, they will get in. because they're Notre Dame and the TV networks want Notre Dame. My biggest thing with this is, though, is it going to be all on ESPN again?
It was on TNT last year for.
Well, there were some on TNT, but they were all on basic cable, more or less.
Yes.
They were on cable. There was none that was on broadcast TV, and a lot of the shit that came from the end of the season was the ratings weren't great, the ratings were down, nobody watched Ohio State versus Notre Dame, and it was because it was on ESPN, and you're comparing it to previous years where it was on broadcast TV. Are we going to move it back to broadcast?
It doesn't make sense, because you would think that with all the money that Disney is spending, you would think that Disney wanted on their broadcast network of ABC. They own all that. They own a ton of their stations too. You would think that you would, what do they put for counter programming? Like what, The Bachelor or something like that, Dancing with the Stars? They do that with the Monday Night Football too. It used to be on ABC. They moved it to ESPN. What's funny is, and I can't remember, I want to say Bob, it wasn't Bob Thompson, it was somebody else. The ad revenue that the counter programming on ABC, like The Bachelor, whatever, all the basically, I'm going to say girl TV shows, they can get a higher ad rate because women buy a lot more stuff. Guys, if you're on ESPN, it's how many Miller Lite commercials can you do? How many Bud Light commercials you can do? That demographic is a different demographic, and they're already setting what they want. Now, the reason why it wasn't on ABC last year, I don't know. That was a decision made way up the food chain. Somebody there at Disney said, "Oh no, we're not going to do it."
I get it. It's ESPN. It's a pay network. You've paid all this money. You want to get your return of investment. You want to make sure people subscribe to ESPN. I'm sure that's probably going to be true with the new direct-to-consumer flagship that's debuting next month. But still, all that being said, I hated the argument that was made that this playoff that we just had this last year was not successful because the ratings were down from previous years. The ratings were down from previous years because in previous years you had it on over-the-air broadcast. A lot more people were available to see it. So,
and you weren't going up against the NFL.
That's true too. We've got to figure that out too. And that's, they've talked about that, the Broadcast Television Act of 1960, whatever, that's supposed to protect Saturdays for college football.
Yeah, but only up until Thanksgiving. Then after Thanksgiving, that's whenever you see the NFL going to Saturdays, because they don't have to. The carve out was the weekend after Labor Day up until Thanksgiving. Then after that, the NFL can show their games 7 days a week.
All right, guys, we're going to get to some comments here. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can. I've got like 40 of them stored. I might not be able to get to all of them. If you absolutely want to have your comment read, it'll have to be a super chat at this point. In order to give a super chat, you click the little cash icon down there in the bottom of the window. That helps us keep the lights on here. You can also become a member or gift a membership from there. With that spiel being out of the way, I will get to the chats. Stormy Cyclone says, I wonder if Jordan, it's Jordon, guys. It's Jordan has the date tonight. I'm the age guy she targets. You probably aren't the bank account she targets. I don't know, Stormy Cyclone. You could be a multimillionaire. I don't know.
Depends on how good the crop is.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe if you've got marijuana as a crop, you might be able to pull Jordan. Tom Dubay says even UConn is undefeated against Notre Dame. There you go. RT says Pokes are undefeated against Notre Dame. Boy, that Notre Dame Irish. Saban is a great coach, but pretending he didn't know how bad the SEC was cheating is laughable.
Right?
Pretending he didn't know he was the worst at cheating is laughable.
SMU was taken down because they were the smallest program that they could take down in the Southwest Conference, and everybody in the Southwest Conference was cheating worse.
That's true, but come on, you can't let SMU slide on the fact that they were real idiots about it. I mean,
and Craig James.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a payroll to make, and Craig James allegedly killed 5 hookers while he was there. Allegedly. Rutgers equals the Jets.
Oh man, that seems right on.
I think Callie Ackermanis has been better than any Jets quarterback over the last 2 years.
Rutgers.
I have Clemson and Notre Dame on my way to early championship game this year. A lot of people are picking Clemson. A lot of people like Clemson. A lot of people like Notre Dame, but I don't know. Not that it matters. MBM says Snoop Menace was driving around a Bentley on campus at Florida State circa 2000.
Of course.
LeBron James, when he went to St. Mary's here in Ohio, drove a Hummer.
Mm-hmm.
That his mother, who made less than $30,000 a year, could somehow get a loan for. Figure that one out. Maryland equals the Chargers.
What do you think about that comp?
The Chargers could be something. They could be something. They won't be something, but they could be something. Rock and Rant, our fellow Hurricane. Let's get a Hurricane going through here for him. Special Hurricane coming through.
Stand back! There's a hurricane coming through.
Math is math, y'all. Hope doesn't trump math. Not in this multiverse. The sum of lesser parts will not exceed the sum of greater parts. Just because there are more of them, average dollar-wise. The Cope Zone. Just elected a new Cope.
He's a White Sox fan.
He's a Jets fan, too.
Oh, I know, yeah.
As a former Pack fan, I see both sides. Big wouldn't have the leverage to steal teams if they were actually happy in their conference. That's right. If you ain't treating your girl right, and then I treat your girl right, don't be bitching at me. Pac-12 ending unequal revenue sharing for USC, UCLA, and Washington is the beginning of the end of the Pac-12. Big Ten offers enough cash where equal revenue sharing works. Pac-12 didn't have cash for that to work. That's right. We treated her right. We showed her. We said, take a look at this. Take a look at this money. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I am saying?
Treat you right, girl. Poached is how I like my eggs, though. That is disgusting, Jose. I'm going to pretend I never heard that. Poached eggs are awful. Awful, awful, awful. Fried or scrambled. Fried or scrambled. You get it fried or scrambled around here. We don't do poach. Purdue last is always a safe bet, but 3 years ago they were in the Big Ten championship game.
Don't bet on Purdue.
Every once in a while, the spoiler makers will win a big game.
I'm telling you, I don't want to play at night in Purdue. Do not want to do
it. The furnace.
Ross-Ade Stadium at night is a scary, scary place. And even if Purdue is winless, it's a scary, scary place. 442213. Let's get used to it. Thank you, Conundrum. Let's see. Sergeant Pickles. Big and SEC will be happy to add 3 and 6 and 4 and 5 playoff berth games at the end of the season. That's the other thing we didn't really talk about with the addition of these conference play-in games. How many games are these college football teams going to be expected to play in totem for an entire season? You got a season, and then you've got maybe a championship game, maybe a play-in game, and then you've got the playoffs. I mean, are these teams going to end up playing 16 total games a year?
More than that. Because you'll have the 4 games in the playoffs, you'll have your conference championship game, then 12 regular season games. 17.
17. There you go. Yeah. Unless they figure out a bye system with that 16-team playoff, but I don't know how that would work. If they want any kind of real fan attendance, do not reseed. Fans need to be able to schedule trips.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
Excellent
but you don't
point.
know. Yeah, but you don't know if you need to take that trip until after the game is over anyway. I mean,
yeah, and I mean,
are you going to schedule that hotel before the game is played?
If you're Ohio State, yes.
and well, you got to keep in mind too, the number 1 team last year got absolutely got their shit pushed in by the number 8 seed. So
yeah,
those things happen. Whatever playoff system they do, something needs to change where Alabama can do 11 regular season games in 2024, with 2 being FCS schools. Those FCS wins can't mean more than losing to a top 10 by 1 point.
Right.
Yes, the SEC has to move to 9 conference games. Has to.
Student athletes. Oh, that is brilliant, sir.
Yes. I think we can all agree SEC needs to move to 9, schedule the Big Ten in a scheduling agreement. That is 10 tough games per year. And that will make it so you do earn one of those at-large spots at the end of the season. Devil Frog says it should be all conference champs and then at-larges. 4-4, 2-2, 1-1 is the dumbest playoff format in history.
The only reason why they want that is so that there's certain money guarantees.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 2 bids for the Big 12's good, guys. I think in reality, we'd be getting 1. Big 12 would be getting 1 in most years. That's just going to be reality. So we just doubled up.
Let's go. We can only go by 1 year based off of it. If there was an at-large bid last year, would a Big 12 team have got it?
No.
No.
It would have been South Carolina or Bama.
South Carolina. My bet would have been South Carolina. So, yes, it works.
When you look at the preseason ranking, sorry, one more thing here. The preseason ranking, so there's 4 or 5 Big 12 teams in the top 25, but they're all sitting at 10 to 12 through 25. There's none, the top 10 that would guarantee an at-large spot. And those are preseason rankings, but that's the narrative. That's what we dealt with last year. That's going to be the ongoing narrative. The Big 12 has nice competitive teams, but not elite top 10 teams.
Absolutely. Let the G5 have their own playoffs. That's what Go Black 45 says. Agree, Moen. 4-4-2-2-2-2. Thank you. SEC fans and big fans are the only ones who like it. I think Big 12 and ACC fans, there's a lot to like there. There's a lot to like, especially once the ACC gets picked clean. When Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, Miami, and all those teams are gone, and you're still getting 2 automatic berths, I think you'll find a lot to like there. Jose says the 3 at large should go to anyone but the SEC and the Big 10.
100%.
It really just depends on. Let's say that you've got your number 3 seed, or your number 5 seed in the SEC is 10-2 because of all the unbalanced schedules and stuff like that. Are you going to sit there and say no to a 10-2 SEC team? No.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't the 4-4-2-2 kind of totalitarian? Totalitarian. I don't know.
Totalitarian.
I think that's what he was going for, but I think he was just screwing with me because I'm drunk. Notre Dame will also be 6-6 and make the playoffs. Damn right they will, because they're Notre Dame. Notre Dame will have to be ranked in the top 16, though. Notre Dame will be 6-6 and ranked in the top 16.
No, they won't.
Jacket and tie now required for the CFP. Shine those shoes, boys. Sankey spoken, enough said. Mess with my girl, we be having problems, you dig? Don't be fronting on me. I'll snap to a homie for a fly girl. All right. We're not going to get to any more comments, guys. I'm sorry. We've run out of time. We have really, time just kind of flew by, and that happens when you're drinking. Wild, we'll start with you, Daniel Gygax. You're the special guest. We'll start with you. What do you have to, what's your last call for the evening?
I need to get your hat and also Moen's hat. And anything that comes out of any presidential commission is not worth the paper it's printed on. Never has been, never will be.
All right, Wild, let us have it.
Jordan looks like Ursula from The Little Mermaid. Point number one. Point number two is that the Big Ten and the SEC have too many milkers to make it a true super conference. And point number three is we need more equality in college football for the good of the sport.
For the good of the sport, correct.
For the good of the sport.
And I want to leave y'all with something that came to my attention. Jose, we're not having Crown Apple. We're not having that stuff here. You can knock that off. Well, it says there's an issue with the file, so maybe I can't show you that file.
What do you got there, Moan?
I was going to do another Tarleton cigarette ad, but here we go. Tarleton with its special mascot, Jack Turtle. Come out of your shell with a Tarleton with Jack Turtle. He is absolutely not designed to get kids to start smoking. Just because he's a cool turtle who's got a tweed jacket. Don't take anything out of that. Tarleton, come out of your shell for a Tarleton. Thank everybody for watching tonight on the Big Freaking Friday show. We will see you again next time on Sunday for Moen After Dark at 8 p.m. Join myself and Rock and Rant for that. I want to thank Wild Ute for coming in today. I want to thank Daniel Gygax, the special guest host. With Just the Facts with Daniel Gygax. He's going to have a new one of those soon. I want to thank Ricky Tungay, awesome, epic, cool, strong Nathan Man. Amazing Blue, amazing with $110 in super chats. Awesome. Jacoba Cat. And to end it off, Sergeant Pickles. Cheers, boys.
Pickles.
Have a safe weekend. All go dogs. Yes, if you have been drinking, please don't drive. We will see you guys on Sunday. Peace out.